Welcome to Heritage Ways, y'all. Today I'm going to cook something I have never cooked in my entire life. I have never eaten in my entire life. I'm curious how you cook this item, this animal, if indeed you ever have. Welcome to Heritage Ways, y'all. I'm Miss Katie, where we honor home, celebrate heritage, and spread hope. We've spent the last 18 months traveling in an RV. We sold our farm. If you're new to us, I will tell you, we sold our farm about a little over 18 months ago, and we hit the road with our three youngest children. We call them the Littles. There are three adopted children. We have three adult children. We hit the road with them to find ways to serve and encourage folks, because we felt like that's something that the Lord was encouraging us to do. So one of our primary goals was to meet our social media friends, build community, share life, spread hope, push back the darkness. And we pray that we have done that once or twice, I hope, with folks in the past 18 months. But what I know, and what Mr. Patient can tell you as well, is we have been the ones who were blessed by traveling and seeing so many amazing people, y'all. There are so many reasons to have hope in this world. It gives me chill bumps to think about. There are so many good people who are just seeking good, doing good, and being the change. And we are so thankful for having had the opportunity to meet so many of those folks. Our full-time life ended sooner than we expected, but also I suspect it was in God's timing, because He knows, He knew, and He knows, and He knows forward that everything. And He knew that I was ready to settle down in a home again. So that's where we're headed, and that brings you up to speed if you're new to our channel. On our travels, we met a dear, sweet family. We already knew them through Instagram, which is how we met up with most of the folks that we met up with. We met them first through Instagram. And this is one family, Miss Katie is her name, and her family, whom I follow on Instagram. And we're just so thankful to have met them in the state of Missouri. And while we were there, they blessed us with a treat, and they said, here, take this and enjoy it. And that is what I want to do today. I want to share this recipe with you. I have never made or prepared, cooked, or eaten rabbit. That's what I'm going to do today. I have done a little bit of research, not a lot on cooking and eating. I have asked several folks, and they've given me different ideas. But today I want to make a recipe that's in my cookbook. It's Nana's Apple Cider Beef Stew, and it's on page 43 of my cookbook. If you want to follow along, I'm going to use this recipe, but substitute rabbit for the stew meat. I think it'll go well together. I hope. The apple, the thyme that's in this, I really have a hunch that will go well with the rabbit. Now, our friends have already prepared the rabbit for us. Our family raises rabbit, and they have, of course, humanely and lovingly harvested, and that is what they are sharing with us. It is, that's quite a bit. I only need 2 pounds. So what I'm going to do, because of my my close quarters, I often use these plastic gloves. If you don't approve of those, you can just use your hands and wash them, of course. But I'm using these because it's easy cleanup, and I'm needing easy cleanup in my tight quarters today. So what I'm doing is I'm just got my scale out, and I'm going to just measure out 2 pounds of this meat. Alright, I'm going to list the ingredients, and then we're going to put it together. And it says this serves 8. Nana's Apple Cider Beef Stew, because my sister's name is Anna, and the kids call her Nana. 2 pounds of stew meat, and I'm using shy of 2 pounds. 2 tablespoons of cooking oil, and I'm using grapeseed today. You can use whatever you like. 3 cups of apple cider. Now, typically, I would use real you know, fresh, raw apple cider. I bought this for this recipe. It's 100% pure pressed apple juice. So it's not apple cider, but that's what we have this time of year. I can't get the pressed and raw good stuff, but this will do. This is as natural as I could get. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I like to use Bragg's. 2 teaspoons of salt. I might go a little shy on this since they've already salted and soaked, brined the rabbit. I might start out with a teaspoon or teaspoon and a fourth, but typically the original recipe calls for 2 pounds of beef stew meat, so you would use the 2 teaspoons rather. A fourth a teaspoon of black pepper and a fourth a teaspoon of dried thyme. 3 potatoes, I'm actually going to use 4, peeled and cubed. 4 carrots, washed and sliced. I get organic produce. 2 medium onions wedged, and this is a big one. I'm just going to use this big one. And then later, after the fact, you'll need a fourth a cup of flour, all-purpose flour, and a fourth a cup of milk to thicken the stew. So let's get started. I have some sourdough bread to go with this for tonight. It's not going to be completely dry, just kind of get some of that. Some of you might be asking, and I don't know all the answers to rabbit, but I do know the reason that it's brined is to get kind of the gamey taste out of it, maybe. I'm sure there are many people who can comment down below and let us know all the facts. Maybe my friend who raised it can comment. Okay, I smell that the oil's hot. I'm going to put it in there. Fry it. Well, it's popping even though I tried to not. It's still wet. I'm just going to get it in there and I'm going to put the lid on top. Okay, I'm just going to let it sit there a minute, do its thing just a second, and I'll come back to it. Do its thing. My mama used to say that. Let it do its thing. Alright, so it says to brown the meat in the oil and then drain it. And then you're going to add the cider vinegar, the salt, thyme, and pepper. And then you're going to bring it to a boil and reduce heat and cover and simmer 1/4 hours. Now, I'll say all that slower in a minute for those of you who are writing it down. Okay, it's a little warm in here. I can't have the air conditioning on in here when I'm filming a video. It's too loud. I'm going to leave the lid off now, and I'm just going to stir it around with my tongs here. Because once it's cooked, I'll use different utensils. I don't use the same ones to cook raw that I cooked or stir cooked food. Don't want to cross-contaminate and that kind of thing. Now, this says to drain. I'm actually not going to do that. I typically don't. If it's a good fat and if it's, you know, if I know how the animal was raised and how it was fed, then I don't drain the fat. Right, I'm going to go ahead while that's cooking, and I'm going to measure out 3 cups of apple cider, or in this case, apple juice. Alright, another reason I'm leaving the liquid is I have this gas stove, and I always have to add more liquid anyway to whatever I'm cooking, so that's why I'm going to leave this cooking liquid. I'm going to add the 2 cups of apple juice, or you would add cider, and then it calls for another cup. My cookbook says to recommends it with cheddar biscuits and or cheddar slices. I'm going to eyeball 1, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I usually do eyeball things. I'll drop the lid. Okay, we said 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And we said 2 teaspoons of salt, but I told you I was only going to use 1. I can add more later. And then 1/4 teaspoon of thyme. Okay, I'm going to rub it together. Open it up. The scent. Then I'm going to bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to reduce the heat, cover, and let it simmer an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, we have the simmered meat. I know that apple and thyme mixture is really going to complement that rabbit. Okay, so we've got, it calls for 3 chopped or peeled and calls for 3 peeled and cubed potatoes. I used 4. Calls for 2 wedged onions. I used 1 large, and 4 carrots washed and sliced, or kind of chunks, whatever size you want for your stew. I'm going to just put these things in there. Alright. Then the recipe says to bring it to a boil again. Then reduce the heat, cover and simmer for 30 minutes. Okay? The meat really became tender as it simmered, I noticed. Alright, y'all, it's been a full day. I've made 2 videos today. The kids have been outside playing. It is 6:38. Everybody's ready to eat. I have this shaker bottle, 1/4 a cup of water, 1/4 a cup of all-purpose flour. I did add, there's a strange man outside my window. He's not strange, he's Mr. Patient. I did add a sprinkle of salt, sprinkle of pepper to this. Now, this stew is looking really good. I'm going to bring you in, let you look at it. I'm going to stir this in. The recipe says to bring this to a boil. The recipe says to bring this to a boil and stir it for 2 minutes. Probably won't take that long on my gas stove. And then I'm going to finish it off with some butter. The recipe doesn't call for it, but I thought, you know, good old, big old pat of butter mixed in there is going to give it a nice, good, rich, creamy taste. I always use unsalted butter so I can control the salt. Let's come in and look at it. Alright, the color's a little dark because it is the end of the day. So let's look here. Doesn't that look good? It smells good. It's tender. The meat has broken up. This is really going to be delicious. You don't need a shaker jar. I mean a bottle, a special one. You can use a glass jar. This is just to thicken it up. If you don't want to add the flour, don't add the flour. Makes it good and thick. I'm actually going to go ahead and add the butter. I have some softened butter, but I'm not going to add it. I'm saving that for my sourdough bread. Alright, I'm putting in a big old, what is that? Probably 2 tablespoons of butter. Let that cook for just a second. I have a little dilemma now. What do I do? The children have never eaten rabbit. I don't want to treat them in a way I wouldn't want to be treated, and I don't want somebody to deceive me when it comes to food or what I'm eating. So I'm certainly not going to lie to them. I'm not going to tell them it's chicken when it's not. The dilemma is that just this very day, they've actually been out there enjoying watching the bunnies in the backyard that we have living back there. On this very day. I just can't, I don't know. because I don't know if they're going to want to try this for that reason. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. I'm going to tell them what it is and leave it up to them. Now, Little Music Man probably wouldn't try it if it was, you know, whatever, beef. He wouldn't try it. But the other two, I think they will. And this cooked down, it looks just like shredded chicken. So I'm actually excited to try it. Like I said, I love that addition of the butter at the end. That's going to make it good. Alright, it's done. Let me put it in a bowl and slice up the sourdough bread that I made. I showed that in another video that I made it actually for this meal, but I showed it taking it out of the oven in the tuna when I was doing the tuna casserole video. So we're going to slice up the sourdough bread and we're going to put this in a bowl and take it outside. It's a wonderful evening to sit outside and try this new dish. Alright guys, here we are. It's supper time. We have a new dish tonight.
Hey, I like trying new foods.
Okay, good. I'm going to stand here and serve it up. I'm going to tell you what it is. Okay. Alright guys, we have what is called rabbit stew.
What kind of rabbit was it made out of?
It was, remember last year in Missouri, we went to Mr. Dell and Miss Katie's house. Remember their children. We had fun. We made banana ice cream and we ate supper with them. Well, they shared with us part of what they grow on their farm. And that's what we're going to enjoy tonight. That's very good. I like the apple cider addition. It's good, isn't it? And you can't tell it's a different protein from what we're used to. We're very thankful. So I was saying our friends shared with us and we're so grateful. Y'all like it? It's good. We want to tell you thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll get notifications. We're going to pray and finish our supper. Hope you have a good day. And we'll see you next time.